Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about why you need to save money and have 6 to 12 months of living expenses. So guys, the easiest way to save money is to obviously live below your means, become a minimalist. Don't buy shit you don't need, right? If it's not food, if it's not gas, if it's not anything that requires sustenance from a bodily perspective, from a survival perspective, you don't need to buy it, right? Stop buying the Jordans, stop buying the video games, stop buying the Apple subscriptions, stop buying the Netflix subscriptions, right? You want to just basically buy things that you need to survive, right? That's the easiest, most simplest way I can put it. And when you do that, right, when you have that as your, and you should always do that. Like I said, that's not something you just do for a little set period of time. You always need to live below your means, right? Like a lot of people get these higher wages, or they get, these higher salaries, right? They start making like $100,000, $200,000 a year. Now they think they're on top of the world, right? Now they start buying these cars. I'm not, my mom, for example, she makes a good amount of money, but she likes to buy stuff that she doesn't need. And I'm like, in my head, I don't tell her this because I don't want to, I don't need to tell. I just don't, it's my opinion. But, there's like, she's 60, I think my mom's like 61, but she could have retired 10 years ago. Her salary, the money she makes, I think she started making that salary. I'm not going to tell you how much, but she started making that salary like 10 years ago. So, if she was smart, I'm not saying she's dumb, but she just, like I said, women are 80% of the consumer base, so they like to buy stuff, right? It's just in them. But if she, wanted to retire earlier, or, wanted to experience freedom earlier, she could have done that if she just, lived below her means and bought stuff that actually, just was bought things that were of necessity, right? Because a lot of us buy shit we don't need to impress people we don't like, right? You guys hear that saying? You've probably heard that saying before. But yeah, it's true. And that's where you start. That's where you start to save your money. And so anywhere, I say 6 to 12 months. If you want to be edgy, if you want to be if you really want to live on edge, you can do 3 months. But anything below 3 months, guys, is not enough, right? Because like I said, we never know what the job market's going to look like. We never know what the economy is going to look like. Things happen, wars happen, crashes happen, whatever, right? So you can never predict what's going to happen in the future, and you can never predict what's going to happen economically as a result of not knowing what's going to happen. So it's important to have money, because if you get fired, or let's say you're at your job, right, and you say something to this girl, and she files you for sexual harassment, right? Or you say something that was taken out of context, and the person took it the wrong way. They go to HR and they decide to fire you, right? So, and like I said, if you're I'm like a loudmouth, so I say a lot of things at my job that I'm like, if these people weren't cool with me or didn't have some sort of mutual respect, they definitely could have gone to HR by now and probably got rid of me. But as a general rule, I think it's important for you guys to have at least 3 to 6 to 12 months of savings, right? Because like I said, you never know what's going to happen as a result of some economic turbulence, or if you say something wrong. And another thing too is, when you have money saved up, it gives you a sense of groundedness. Think of all the people, I talk about this a lot, but think of the people who just live paycheck to paycheck. It's like, dude, these people, I can't imagine the amount of mental anxiety and stress and worry that comes with that. Constantly every month having to just monitor every little thing you do, right? Because you don't know if you're gonna have enough money to pay the freaking rent, to pay your light bill, your utilities, whatever. It's that is very scary. So I don't want any of you guys to have to really worry too much about that. And then it gives you a sense of you're free to start to because here's the thing, when you're in survival mode, guys, when you're in that constant state of worry about not knowing if you're going to be able to freaking pay your bills, you're in a fearful state. So when you're in a sorry guys, someone was calling me. But when you're in a fearful state, your creativity goes low, right? Think about COVID, right? I'm not going to try to say too much about it, but you guys, when people are fearful, that's when they're not creative. That's when their critical thinking gets shut off, right? Because you're operating out of emotion, you're operating out of fear, right? So you can't move forward, right? You can't progress up Maslow's hierarchy of needs if you're constantly worried, if you're constantly thinking about your next meal, how you're gonna afford enough money for your next meal, right? So that's important to note. And another thing as well is you want to have money so that you can tell people to F off, right? So when your boss, when you ask for a promotion or you ask for a raise and they say no, you're able to just leave, right? Because the last thing you want to be is someone who's in a position where you want a promotion or you want something, right? You believe you're the qualified candidate to get it. You believe you're qualified, you've put in the work, you've paid your dues to get the raise or the promotion. And then they tell you no, and now you don't have any money, so you can't leave right away, right? I want to be in a position, guys, where my talent, if it's not recognized, if it's not compensated for, if it's not treated properly, I want to be in a position to just walk right off the job, right? And not think twice about it. I know that's not professional and that's not, putting your 2 weeks and whatever, but sometimes, guys, you got to let people know, like, yo, I'm not just one of these like people you're gonna like let you take advantage of or get walked over, right? So at the end of the day, it's important to have money, guys. So back in my video I made a few days ago, I said every man must work 2 jobs, right? And that stands, right? That stands, right? If you're not making a lot of money from a trade or entrepreneurship or a high, if you're not making money from a degree, from something, an advanced degree, right? You gotta work hard and save your money so you can have that FU mentality, right? When people don't act right or people don't reciprocate what you've done in a fashion that is suitable to you, right? You have to have that money so you can say, screw off, I'm going somewhere else, right? And that's the best feeling. It's the best feeling knowing that you don't have to take shit from anybody, right? I don't know about you guys, but I want to be free. I don't want anybody to control me, right? I want to be the one that's in control of my finances, that's in control of my financial destiny, that's in control of how I live, my lifestyle. I want to be able to control, how much food, like the type of food I can buy, right? The type of, just whatever it is, right? I just want to be in control of my lifestyle, right? And if people aren't going to reciprocate that via promotion, via raise, via, whatever, then you got to go somewhere else. Because like I said, if you're putting in the work and you truly believe you're the most qualified person for the thing you want, and someone doesn't give it to you, don't stay there and just hang around and hope for it, right? Let people be. Sometimes, guys, you got to let people permanently miss your absence and your greatness, to let them really feel how bad of a loss you were, right? And I know that sounds kind of like vengeful and whatever, but it's true. And it's the same thing with relationships, right? I know I'm going on a rant here, but if a woman says no, you don't just keep asking her, you don't just keep begging her, because now she thinks you don't have any other option. And it's the same way in a job setting, right? When someone says no and then you keep begging for it and you keep begging for it, it makes you come off as, hey, like you have no other option and they can do whatever they want with you, right? But if you have, like I'm talking about in this video, if you have 6 to 12 months of savings, right, and you're applying to other jobs, right, that's power, right? You want to bring the power back to you, right? You never want to be in a position where a corporation has power over you, right? And that's where a lot of people are, unfortunately, because, hey, guess what? You spend more than you make stupid decisions, you have too many kids when you can't afford them, right? Your partner doesn't know how to have financial discipline. You bought an expensive car that you didn't need, right? You bought a house that was too expensive, and now you pay the price for that, right? And now you are someone else's slave because of your poor financial decisions, because of your poor spending habits, right? So when you're able to save your money, when you're able to have that money readily available, right? If you get fired or if you leave, maybe you don't have a job lined up right away, but hey, guess what? Now I have breathing room. I have 3 months where I can, survive without a job if I need to, right? Because like I said, depending on the job market or depending on the season or depending on where, because jobs hire at different seasons depending on where you live, if you're in a season where, like for example, Florida, June to about October is like our slow season, right? So, you know, it's so funny. Everyone's like wanting a job right now. And I'm like, you people are stupid. No one's hiring right now because there's no, you know, because we get our snowbirds from October to June, right? Really, it's like kind of June where they start to go back. So that's when all the money's made for most, all the companies, right? Restaurants, retail. And it's like all these people are so stupid. They're applying for jobs in the off season, right? So think about it. Let's say you get fired in the off season and you don't have money. Well, it's going to be hard to get a job in the off season. So if you don't have savings, you're fucked, right? So you got to think about your survival. You got to think about, you know, things not always turning out well. You know, turning out as intended. You know, I always say, be optimistic, right? But what is the saying? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, right? So you got to prepare for things not to go well. You know, I'm always, you know, I'm a pretty optimistic guy, but I also know that people, you know, will do you wrong. And what's going on, buddy? How you doing? So I know that, you know, people will do you wrong and things won't go according to plan sometimes. So you have to always think in your hindbrain, like, shit, if things don't go well, you always want to think of what could go well and what could not go well and plan accordingly, right? You never want to be too optimistic, right? You never want to be too optimistic about a job giving you what you want. You never want to be too optimistic about a woman giving you what you want, right? And as a result, like I said, it's important that you save your money. You worked, you know, if you have to work 2 jobs to do that, you do that for a spare, you know, set period of time, and you don't buy shit you don't need. And then from that point, you don't have to be someone else's slave if they don't want to reciprocate you, right? Or you get fired or whatever happens. So yeah, guys, that's the importance of saving your money and having those 6 to 12 months of living expenses. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.